Hello everyone, welcome to the Techforce podcast show. I'm your host Shivani, and today we have a guest on. We are going to talk. First of all, let me introduce the topic. The topic for today is impact of Web3 on fintech industry as a whole. And our guest for today is Anthony Calvas. Hi Anthony, how are you?
Hi Shivani, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Yeah, the pleasure is all ours. So, how was it? How's your day going?
Oh, the day is very fine. I'm in London. The weather is very nice, and yeah, I'm just enjoying my life.
Can you tell our listeners what do you do?
Sure. So my name is Anthony Calvas, and I am a fund manager. So I basically manage a private investment firm that invests solely in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry. What we do is we are a bit of an unusual firm, let's say, because most funds that are operating into that space, what they do is some kind of trading strategy or some kind of VC investment, venture capital investment. What we do is we invest in the infrastructures that are powering the various blockchain networks. So we thrive at identifying and investing into the blockchain networks and decentralized networks that will do well in time and that will bring disruptive innovation in the future.
Right. So our topic for today is Web3's involvement in fintech industry as a whole. We can give a disclaimer, by the way. We should give a disclaimer that whatever will be talked in this podcast is just our opinion and nothing should go wrong with that. Right?
Exactly. This is no financial advice. No financial advice at all. Only for educational purposes.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So my first question is, according to you, what are the benefits of Web3 in fintech? Like how Web3 is helping the fintech industry?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So in my opinion, there are two main benefits that Web3 is bringing to the fintech sector. And that is number one, the removal of middlemen. So as you know, and as I'm sure your listeners know as well, the blockchain technology has this huge power for disintermediation. So which means basically it means that there is no need for like traditional banks or accounting firms or tax civil servants and so on, because everything can be automated through a smart contract. So it's more of a like peer-to-peer type of interaction that people will be able to achieve thanks to the blockchain industry. And fintech is getting a lot of inspiration from that technology. And number two, sorry. Yeah, so that was the first part of it, removal of the middleman. And number two is the fact that the blockchain technology is permissionless, which means that anyone can use the technology. And I'm gonna draw a very quick parallel, a very quick analogy. On Twitter sometimes, if you have an account that has some kind of political line that is against Twitter's value or some kind of political opinion that is against the mainstream, Twitter can just shut down your account. Or same with YouTube or any other platform. With a platform that would use the blockchain technology for that kind of social network, anyone would still get access to their account and use their account however they want. I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing, because with freedom of speech comes a lot of issues and problems. Yeah, responsibilities, exactly. I'm just saying that in the realm of financial services, no bank will be in the capacity of banning any customer because the customer does not match their criteria.
Right. So web as a whole industry has evolved. Like there was Web 1, we were doing financial activities differently. Web 2, we were doing financial activities differently. And Web 3, the whole thing is changing.
Yes.
On that only, my whole question was how would you describe the synergy of fintech and Web3?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would say that they help each other out in different ways. So let's start with how, like what benefits can fintech takes from the Web3 industry and the Web3 space. So it's important to notice that more and more fintech companies, they leverage some kind of blockchain technology or blockchain practice to integrate some element of it into their services. And for instance, we can mention that some of them use staking or yield farming to provide a better yield to their clients. So, for instance, you would have a wallet with dollars, British pounds, euros, whatever, and instead of having of keeping your money completely idle on your account, you could allocate a little portion of it through the fintech platform, so that they can use your euros or pounds or dollars or whatever, and they do some kind of staking with it. So they would purchase some Ethereum tokens, put them in a staking pool, get a yield out of it, and you will be able to have a yield on your money, which is always better than having idle money, especially with inflation nowadays. So that would be a first element. Another element is that like a lot of fintechs have based their core services on payments. So what they deliver is, instead of charging like 3% of transaction fees when you pay a Coke or whatever with your credit card in a store, and that merchant, that store is paying 3% of transaction fee, they would go to that same store and they would say, hey, use our services, and instead of charging you 3%, we will charge you only 0.5%. And they use what's called they do what's called rolling up transaction into batches. So they gather a lot of payments, and they make one big payment out of it. And instead of charging 3% on a lot of small payments, they charge like 0.5, 1% on a big payment. And in order to improve that process, they now use blockchain technology with roll-ups. It's a big part of optimizing the transaction throughput on blockchain networks. So these are the ways how fintech can leverage the blockchain technology and make fintech overall more performant. And I also forgot to mention, it's not there yet. It's still in development. It's very early stage, but there is something called DID, Decentralized Identity. So like in like most, I mean, it might not be so obvious to everybody, but a lot of people on Earth do not have any sort of identity document. And it might sound crazy, but a lot of people cannot prove their identity. And some blockchain projects are looking at solving this, where you could basically store your identity, your name, your surname, your place and date of birth, and so on the blockchain, and that will be untampered, and you would have you will be the sole owner of your identity. And I know that some fintech are waiting for this kind of brick, this kind of technological brick, to be ready enough to deploy into their service, so that they can access the part of the world where people are struggling to get an ID document, because for whatever reason, because the state is not efficient enough, or the administration process is way too complicated, or there is corruption, or who knows. So these are like the few elements on how that make me think that the Web3 and blockchain industry is helping the fintech sector. And it's the other way around. Why fintech is helping blockchain projects? It's simply because, so there are several things to have in mind. So number one, fintech has been there and has been, let's say, not democratized, but widely accepted much longer than blockchain. Blockchain is not very much accepted yet by those old financial institutions. They like all those big banks and pension funds and stuff.
Yeah, traditional banks.
Traditional banks, absolutely. They kind of like frown upon anything that is related to blockchain and cryptocurrencies, right? But since those all the players, those traditional institutions, since they do trust fintech because it has been around for longer, it has a better reputation. So they trust those actors, and they see those actors, those fintech companies, going into the blockchain industry to get inspiration, to use some elements of it, to use some technology. So it will help through fintech, blockchain, and Web3 will gain a better reputation over time, because more traditional actors, more widely accepted actors and companies are using it to make the services better. So yeah, basically it's the dynamic that I'm seeing between fintech in one hand and blockchain on the other hand.
Yeah. So that decentralized finance and blockchain are just taking away the power of relying on a central authority. So that's where the issues arise. So we need to find a middle way to, merge them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What are the use cases of AI in investment management? Yes, it's a broad question. Yeah.
It's a very broad question, and honestly, you could attend hours long lectures on that particular topic. So the two main ways to go about it between AI and investment is number one, you can use AI for analyzing all sorts of text formats. It's called NLP, natural language processing. And what it's used for is to determine sentiment and market sentiment. It's also called sentiment analysis. So I'm sure, for instance, that you and your audience have heard about the Terra Luna protocol that has completely crashed recently, and the UST, the stablecoin UST, being completely depegged from the US dollar. And obviously a lot of fears and anxiety were generated on the internet, because everybody was tweeting about it, or you had I don't know how many YouTube videos about how bad the market is going, and especially Terra. So you could use AI on that particular protocol, Terra, and analyze all the words that are being used and all the semantic context that is being generated around that particular protocol, so that so that the programs, the AI, could figure out before anyone else that there is something wrong going on with Terra. Because you can have a team of 1,000 people if you want. We are still human beings, right? So we need a while to read articles, to go on Twitter, to cut through the noise, to decipher what's true, what's not true, what is the hoax, what is sound and honest. You can replace all of this with AI, and in a matter of a few seconds, a few minutes maximum, you can analyze tons of data that you wouldn't be able to analyze with only your brain.
Yes, I would ask, can you predict the prices of future? For example, you said about Terra, right? So, with the specific AI, can we predict that prices are going to change? In future, can it will happen?
Absolutely. So that is the second use of AI in investments. So that, and it's called time series analysis. So basically, it's a kind of AI that will analyze the charts. So obviously the price of various tokens of it's financial markets, right? Like crypto markets.
Right.
So prices are fluctuating all day long, 24/7. And you have all kind of bots and AI programs that are analyzing those trends and various parameters such as the volume, the RSI, the MACD, and all kind of financial parameters, in order to say, okay, in a particular time frame, like in a minute from now, or in a month from now, or in an hour, or in 4 hours from now, the price will go up or it will crash. or it will oscillate around that particular support. So yeah, that's the second use case for AI in investments. Yeah.
Okay. So as we are talking about like AI and fintech, like AI in fintech, my next question was around like how traditional customers are going to accept this huge change in uh, fintech that is going on right now. So like, how do you pitch fintech as an industry to the traditional people who are not well averse with this technology?
Yeah, I mean, for the traditional investor who still want to invest in fintech, I would guess that it's going to be quite transparent, because it's this whole blockchain Web3 integration thing. It's all behind the scene. From the end user standpoint, the interface is the same. The service is getting better. Like faster transaction, cheaper, lower cost, and so on. So unless they have unless they are like seriously skeptical for whatever reason about a blockchain, I don't think that they will see any harm in fintech integrating some blockchain elements into their services.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So digital assets, investing in digital assets is huge nowadays. Like everyone is moving towards NFTs, investing in NFTs, buying and selling of NFTs. According to you, do you think that it is advisable for people who are like not huge risk takers to invest in digital assets, or like how should they, like what should be the procedure to invest in a particular digital asset?
Yeah, good question. So again, I'm going to repeat before to answer that question. No financial advice, okay? This is educational purpose only. And number two, the most important things to do is to do your own research. And for two reasons, doing this whole research, your own research thing, it's because number one, it's your money and you're responsible for your money. And before investing your money in anything, you need to know what you invest in, you invest in. And number two is when you do your own research, you gather knowledge, you gather experience, and only this will make you a better investor over time. As it's said now, so if you are very very risk averse, like if you are afraid of fluctuations and volatility and so on, cryptocurrencies might not be the best place for you to invest in, because it's a very tight space, it's very risky. I was mentioning very briefly a bit earlier, the Terra protocol that got completely crashed lately. I don't know if your audience knows about it, but the Terra Luna protocol was one of the most prominent blockchain before crashing. So it was part of the top 10, I believe. So even those kind of very big projects, and it had at the time like several billion, a market capitalization of several $billion. So even a project of that magnitude with a very serious team behind that project, even that kind of project lost like 98% in a matter of a few days. So it's very important to have that in mind. I do not say this to scare your audience, though. There's still some good investment to do in the crypto space. But if you are very risk averse, I would recommend to, as I said, number one, do your own research, and then stick to what is not, how to put it, what looks very serious, as in you need to wonder what are the infrastructures, what are the elements that are indispensable to the blockchain industry overall, instead of trying to chase the trend, because one day it's this trend that is going up, and another day it's another trend that will be super hyped. So chasing the trend is the best way to waste your money and to end the pool. So you need to set some kind of very long-term investment strategy, and a long-term, fairly good enough long-term investment strategy will be to do what's called DCA. DCA stands for dollar cost average. So it means that every month every week or on a regular basis, basically, or maybe every quarter. Or the point is to make it regular. You invest the same amount of money. So let's say, I don't know, let's say 50 pounds or $50 or a certain amount of your money that you can afford to lose. It is a point I forgot to mention. Invest only what you can afford to lose. So basically you would do your own research, find the kind of project that is indispensable to the overall growth of the blockchain industry as a whole, and keep investing on a regular basis in that particular project. And you'll see that over the years, you will have a compounded effect that will make you a sizable bulk of money at the end. So yeah, I would, if I was let's say a small investor, I would look especially into the kind of projects that is called, the category of projects that is called layer 1 cryptocurrency. Layer 1 as in there's a base layer of all the decentralized applications that are being built on them, I mean. And a few of those layer 1s are, the very known ones like Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Avalanche, Near, Polkadot, all those protocols that are very, foundational, and the blockchain industry will always need them. So no matter what innovation comes up in the future, this innovation will leverage those layer 1s. So this is, I would say, quite a safe quotation mark that safe within the world of the cryptocurrencies, which is quite risky.
I was going for if you want to do the short-term investment or something like that, you could follow Elon Musk on Twitter. Whatever he tweets about, you know exactly what it is. That's a funny
exactly.
That's a funny idea.
That would be a safe way to stay on the short term. Yeah, basically follow Elon Musk, and in order to follow him in a timely manner, because again that will require you to monitor.
Yes. Okay, so as we talked about investing in cryptocurrency, okay, that is somewhat a similar strategy we follow while investing in on stocks or in futures or so. So is there any bigger difference in between both of them? If I want to invest in crypto and if I want to invest in stock, there would be a change in strategy, right?
Yeah. So if you want to have a mix between pure tokens and some equity, some stocks, basically, it's a smart move, because that would allow you to keep to have a foot into the token world and have a foot in the traditional world, but that is still somehow linked to the blockchain industry. So there are a few firms, a few companies that have gone IPO, like Coinbase, for instance, which is one of the if not the biggest crypto exchange in the world. They have completed their IPO last year, I believe. It's quite recent. So. Yeah, so people in your audience, if they feel safe investing in stocks, they can definitely go on to their traditional broker and purchase Coinbase stocks. There is also a few ETFs-like products, basically funds that make crypto investments available through shares or coupons or some kind of notes of some sort. And it's possible to have access to them, but also it's a bit more complicated than purchasing stocks on financial market.
Yes. So on an ending note, I would like to get a view. We are already in metaverse right now. So what do you think? As JP Morgan as a bank has already in many companies, but along with the banking ministry is also stepping into metaverse. So what do you think is the future for Fintech as a whole for next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, good question. So the metaverse is a topic on its own, right? I mean, we could take hours talking only about the metaverse. And I actually, funnily enough, recently I did a podcast. I got interviewed by a podcast host specifically about the topic. The podcast is the Making Billion with Ryan Miller. there's an episode fully dedicated to that. And so yeah, back to your question, fintech and metaverse and some banks purchasing some land and so on. Basically, the main point to have in mind for a company when a company considers going into the metaverse is how they will make the experience in the metaverse compelling and how they will retain the people that are interacting with them within the metaverse. Like the same way, because that particular bank you're referring to, they basically purchase the land and look at developing some kind of venue where people can come and interact with the bank services. I know that in the metaverse, some of the brands have purchased other lands or even a stadium, and those companies, they want to offer concerts and live events. And some of the companies, they actually built a casino in the metaverse, so players can come online and play poker in the metaverse in that particular casino. So it's like a digital parallel world that is emerging. But if this digital parallel world is not compelling, if the experience is not immersive, people will not want to go to that. So the fintech companies that want to go into the metaverse, I say, great, that is a very good idea, but make sure that whatever you are proposing there is actually compelling and immersive. These are the two keywords: compelling experience and immersive experience. Otherwise, they will just come to your venue in the metaverse, but they will not come back a second time. It's like, you can see it a bit like as a website. You can build a website like right now, but if your website is not interesting, if your website does not deliver value, no one will come back to your website, and your traffic will go down in time.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So on an ending note, we would like to have some quote from Anthony Dalpas. Like, what do you believe in, or what an advice you would like to give? Anything you would want to put out there?
Sure. So I don't have any like particular like belief or whatever, but I like the mantra, who dares win. If you don't dare, you will not win anything, So basically my main advice is, whatever you are interested in, whatever you want to try on, just try it, just do it, take the jump, take the leap. And you will find out along the way what are the hurdles, how to come around some difficulties. Along the way, you will meet great people that will help you out to overcome your difficulties. And this is how you learn, this is how you progress. And particularly, related to our topic of today, so, blockchain and fintech and so on, I would say that if people in your audience are not invested into cryptocurrencies yet and are considering it, or in fintech or in whatever sector, they need to start now. They need to start today. Like, postponing does not get you anywhere. And in order to force you stop postponing, my little brain trick is to invest a little bit of money, even like $10 or $50, like really a little amount of money that you're willing to, that you can afford to lose. And I can guarantee you that once your money is invested in something, you will start worrying. You will start getting true interest into that thing. So if you invest like £50 in Bitcoin, I can guarantee you that you will start reading the Bitcoin white paper. You will start going onto the forums where people share their Bitcoin. Where it's going? Will it fail? Is it a good investment? Is it going to be the world reserve currency? There are so many angles to approach one particular coin. But as long as you're not invested properly into that coin, you will take no angle. So invest a very little fraction of money and dare to invest, basically. Who dares win, and you will win. You will educate yourself. You will get better at investing, and you will see where the market is going, and you will have a bright future.
That's very well put, actually. Like, you already said it before, but I always end the podcast saying, like, do your own research. You already said it like before, like whatever you're doing, anything new, just do your own research and just jump into it. Like you have to put something into it to get something in return, right? Like that's how the thing works.
Absolutely, and that's I mean that's a very good example, because you had to put yourself out there to start this podcast. You had to reach out to people. It's not easy to reach out to perfect strangers, people that you never met before, and yet you did it. And now you have this podcast. You have done tens and tens of interviews with a lot of various people, and those people are bringing a lot of knowledge to you and your audience. And thanks to you, your audience is benefiting from your own growth, from your own education, like learning curve. And yeah, it brings a lot of value, and yes, this is what people need to do. Just there. Right.
Yeah, thank you so much for those kind words.
You're welcome, Shivani. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was a very pleasant conversation.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Anthony, for joining the show. It was really wonderful, like how you describe the fintech. It's a whole. We could do a whole. Okay, so my goal is we could do the next podcast in Metaverse. Hopefully, that's my end goal.
Sure.
I want to do one podcast in Metaverse.
It's doable. Yeah. It is doable. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Anthony, for joining.
Thank you, Shivani. Bye-bye. Take care, and thank you for having me. Bye.